when you come to Kvarner, treat yourself to an experience you will remember. Enjoy the luxurious ambience. Experience superior service. Indulge in endless pleasures. The pearl of the tourism offer in the pearl of the Adriatic. Liburnia, Hotels and Villas.
All questions that remain to be answered, we'll answer them now. It's Alan Day on the outside of your picture. Then he's on the left-hand side of his perspective anyway, and he leads Gianmarco Ercoli behind him. So Gianmarco Ercoli getting past Patrick Lemarie there. Lemarie not able to hold on to second place. Ercoli with the outside line going through the first corner, which is little but a curve, and then around turn 2, which is a left-hand bend, he managed to jump forth into second place. Everyone else scything their way through without too much drama. Lots of 2 wide, even a little bit of 3 wide further back in the pack. And oh, Max Lanza in a spin. Massimilio Lanza in a spin. But meanwhile, for 4th place, it is Giorgio Maggi up a position. And I think there was a little bit of contact. Oh, that's a big moment for Vittorio Garelli. I thought I saw something fly off the car, but the engine has firmly exploded underneath him. It's clearly laid oil down because other cars have gone off behind him, but that was a huge explosion for Vittorio Garelli. The engine let go in no uncertain terms. We go on to another lap of racing with Gianmarco Ercoli hounding the back of Alan Day. But that was a huge flame out. Lap 14 of 17, and Gianmarco Ercoli has not given Alan Day the slightest bit of breathing room over the course of this race. Alan Day into the now slightly slippery turn 15 and turn 16. It looks like he struggles to get the car turned in there. Gianmarco Ercoli gets the slipstream each and every time on this main straight. He's not close enough for a challenge into turns 1 and 2, I don't think. Oh, Alan Day does drift wide. Does Gianmarco Ercoli try and get to the inside? I think he was trying to, but he wasn't close enough. It's going to be Alan Day that claims the win, and he gets one step closer. He gets one hand on the championship with victory here in the first race of 2 at the Automotodrom Grobnik. It's Alan Day who puts his championship lead up to 16 points. It was Saturday here at the Automotodrom Grobnik. It's Sunday. It's the season finale for the EuroNASCAR Pro category. The final race of the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series in 2022, and it's all to play for here at Grobnik, a circuit where we've already seen so much drama and so much action. It's going to be the home to a battle here between Alan Day and Gianmarco Ercoli. Ercoli needs Alan Day to finish 6th or lower to stand a chance of taking this victory. If Alan Day finishes 5th today and Gianmarco Ercoli wins, they'll be tied on points. But my understanding is that with the count back, Alan Day would still be champion if they end up joint on points. So Alan Day 16 clear of Gianmarco Ercoli. If those two end up in any dramas today, then Alexander Graf may well swoop in with a late bid for the title for Speedhouse. Alexander Graf, who had a poor race yesterday, he's not got the best of starting positions today either. But Alan Day and Gianmarco Ercoli have been known to get into a scrap every now and then, so who knows if they'll see the end of the race. Giorgio Maggi 4th in the points, Nicolo Rocca 5th in the points. Our leader in the junior trophy is Giorgio Maggi. The Challenger points leader is Massimiliano Lanza at this stage in the season. You see there on the screen, we've got just under 40 minutes until the command is given to start your engines. We'll hear from lots of different drivers in the build to this race. You may have already watched the EuroNASCAR 2 title decider earlier on this morning. If you did, you're aware that we've already crowned a champion today in the form of Liam Hasemans, who will be taking the start in this race as well in the number 50 Hendricks Motorsport car. So we've already crowned a champion. We've already seen celebrations and success today. The question we have now is who will celebrate on Championship Sunday in EuroNASCAR Pro. Certainly the smart money and the maths falls in favour of Alan Day for now. However, we never know what can happen over the course of a race distance. There you see the Indy 500 Chevrolet Corvette C3 pace car. I don't quite know whether it's authentic, but it's clearly at least a tribute to the Indy 500 pace cars of days gone by, which makes it very cool. And if it is the official pace car from the 62nd Indianapolis 500, as it claims, then what a treat it is to see it here on the grid awaiting our cars. And certainly the Corvette C3 shape, one that is always eye-catching. A car that's always eye-catching is the number 24 Monster Energy-backed PK Car Sport machine, and that is the car that Alan Day is climbing out of right now. He has been a force to be reckoned with this year, as always. Of course, going for his 4th championship here today, but he knows as well as anybody that sometimes the world of EuroNASCAR is a cruel place. He'll be starting on the outside of the front row. He'll be joined on the front row by our pole sitter Giorgio Maggi. Sebastian Blekemolen will line up 3rd on the grid alongside this man, Gianmarco Ercoli. So Alan Day and Gianmarco Ercoli will be back to front. They'll be beside, or rather they'll be running line astern with each other on the 1st and 2nd rows of the grid as we get this race underway. So that could be compelling. Ercoli will have Alan Day directly ahead of him as they side their way through the first few corners of the lap. And we have seen things get a little bit physical here and there between those two this season. Here you see the rest of the grid. Lemarie in 5th place ahead of Vittorio Garelli, who starts 6th in spite of that flame out yesterday that we saw in the highlights. The car has been repaired and ran successfully through the EuroNASCAR 2 race earlier on. New EuroNASCAR 2 champion Liam Hasemans lines up alongside Roman Iannetta on row 4. Mark Goosens on row number 5 alongside Nicolo Rocca. Claudio Remeggio Capelli will start 11th alongside the 2021 EuroNASCAR 2 champion Martin Dubek. Leonardo Colavita 13th alongside Henri Tuamala. Fabrizio Armetta in 15th and Dario Casso 16th place as we continue to roll down the order there. We see some of the drivers getting ready, and that is Sebastian Blekemolen's car there. Sebastian will be looking to work well from towards the sharp end of the order, but the driver at the very sharp end of the order is Giorgio Maggi, and he's with Andre Viegold.
Thank you so much, Adam. Yes, I'm here with Giorgio Maggi, the pole sitter of this race. Crazy situation. You have Alan Day there, you have Gianmarco Ercoli there fighting for the championship, but you're on pole position. So what's your goal here today?
Well, obviously we want to win, but I think we're in a pretty good spot because, as you already mentioned, they're fighting for the championship. So they have to be smart. I have nothing to lose. If they want to try it, then it's their risk.
That's a clear statement that you will not let them through if you are able to defend.
Oh, no. And I think we have the speed. And yeah, I think we can do it.
All right, then good luck and have fun.
Thank you.
And now he returns his focus back to the fans who are making their way onto the grid to lap up the atmosphere of the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. And Giorgio Maggi on 317 points is the runaway favourite, or the runaway champion this year in the junior class. Giorgio Maggi has been sensational this season. He's had 6 top 5s and 8 top 10s. He's yet to have a pole, until today. And now he is in contention for his first win of the season in 2022. We look forward to seeing what that 18 car is capable of. A word on the 64 car of Alexander Graf. He's third in the championship. He's the outsider for the title. However, he's 18th on the grid, so that's not good for him. A better starting place, though, for Gianmarco Ercoli. He starts in fourth. Over to you, Andre.
Gianmarco Ercoli here with me. You're starting right behind Alan Day. He needs to get out of the top 5, and you have to win the race. So this is the mathematics behind the championship battle. What is your plan?
My plan is win, and after I try to battle hard with Alan for have possible to win, but it's difficult because if I win, his position is 6. So now it's hard because I start 4. And it's complicated, but I have a good speed in the first laps, so it's possible try to overtake the other driver. And after, I try to do the best of the car.
¿Ya está Croca? Sí? No?
Sí.
Thank you. If you don't know the story, Magione 2014, check out the video on his page.
There you go. Gianmarco Ercoli, then, he knows he has to win. So far today, or so far this weekend, all of our winners have come from the front row of the grid. Liam Hasemans, the number 50 car that we see here, he started from second in both of the EuroNASCAR 2 races to take the win. Meanwhile, we of course had a pole to victory situation or rather a second to victory situation from Alan Day as well. So it's going to be compelling stuff to see whether anyone can win from outside the front row of the grid. That's what Gianmarco Ercoli needs to do. You see there the signatures going on for Liam Hasemans. I'm sure he's one of the hottest signatures in town today, given he's already secured his EuroNASCAR 2 title with a brilliant drive earlier this morning. He really did pull out a special performance, Liam, with support from brother Loris and the rest of the family. But he can't celebrate just yet. I think most people who won a championship at before they even hit lunchtime would probably already be drinking. But Liam Hasemans has some work to do yet at the wheel of the 50 car here in the Pro class. So the signatures continue. And you see there, we've got some of the EuroNASCAR 2 drivers out there as well, providing signatures, which is great to see. However, we now move to championship leader, Alan Day. Let's hear his thoughts.
Thank you so much. Yes, I'm here with the championship leader, and you're starting second in this race, but Gianmarco Ercoli right behind you. Is it all about being clever today?
I think it's about being clever the whole season. But yeah, particularly today, it's trying to stay out of trouble and bring the monster PK Sport car in one piece to the end of the race, hopefully with the championship.
Top 5 should be enough to win the championship. So are you even backing up and just securing the position if it's needed to win the championship, the bigger picture, or are you going full attack?
I always said that I look race by race, and I look at this race as a normal race. I'm not here for cruising, I'm here for winning, so yeah, it doesn't matter.
Full attack it is. Thank you.
Full attack. Thank you.
So Alan Day not letting up in the slightest. That's really not that big of a surprise if you've seen Alan's previous title victories here in EuroNASCAR. We look forward to seeing how he performs in just a few moments. He'll be on the outside of Giorgio Maggi. Maggi, though, will be hungry for that race win. I have no doubt about that. I think Sebastian Blekemolen could be up for a win as well here. He's already got one this year, obviously at the Autodrom Most, and I think he'd love to add a little bit more silverware to the collection before the year comes to a close. There's the 56 crew posing for the pictures. Of course, Gil Linster took the car to, unfortunately, a DNF in EuroNASCAR 2 earlier on. He'll be trying out for a win in EuroNASCAR Pro, although he does start down in 10th place, Nicolo Rocca in the 56. Over to Sebastian Bleekemolen.
Thank you so much. Yes, Sebastian Bleekemolen, ready to end the season on a high note?
Yeah, of course. I'm P3, so hopefully we can end up somewhere on the podium. It will be a big challenge because we have a good drivers next to me. They are agree and they're fighting for the championship, of course. And Machi in front of me, and he was yesterday really fast. So, but let's see.
We start with Vladimiros Tsotis in the EuroNASCAR 2 race. He was in between the championship contenders. When you are in this position, what are you going to do?
I'm 5th in the championship at the moment, and I think I can climb at least one place. So points are also important for me, so they have to watch me.
Perfect. Thank you, well, and have fun and good luck.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Sebastian raises a good point there. From 3rd on the grid, he could well beat Nicolo Rocca in the pro standings. He's actually 6th in the points at the moment. He could secure 5th in the points if Nicolo Rocca gets or finishes at least 2 positions back from him. Nicolo Rocca starting from 10th place, as we're talking about before, in the 56 car that Gil Linster was racing in EuroNASCAR 2. So Nicolo Rocca will be taking that car for this pro race, and he's trying to hold on to 5th place in the standings. If Bleekemolen can do a good job, then maybe, just maybe, he can secure 5th in the standings at the very end of the year. We see there Claudio Remeggio Capelli signing some autographs. Capelli, a popular figure in the paddock and a driver who keeps getting quicker as well. He has been very promising at times this year, and we know that he will be looking to maybe secure a top 10 today if he possibly can. He does start in 11th place, so he's not far away from the top 10 right now. We'll see whether Capelli can do it in the 16 car. I am very compelled, though, to see what Alexander Graf does in this race from 18th on the grid. He's not shown himself to be too good at moving through the order if he starts towards the rear of the grid in recent times. He does seem to be struggling with that 64 car. Again, he's 3rd in the championship. He's realistically the only person other than Day or Coley that could theoretically take the championship, but he'd have to move a long way through the order. However, a little bit of cross-Atlantic conversation now with Andre Viegold.
Thank you so much, Adam. I'm here with Jason Simmons, who is working for the International Department of NASCAR in the United States. So, how are you liking this event so far?
My first Euro Series event has exceeded all of my expectations. The smells and the atmosphere, everything here. If you haven't been to a NASCAR Euro Series race yet, you got to get out here, 100%.
You have some experience. You also were at Mexico for the Mexican Series. You're coming from the US. Is this real stock car racing?
It is real stock car racing. A lot of similarities, and there are also some differences. But when you drum it all down, at its core, it is pure racing. The drivers are just as competitive here as they are in Mexico, as they are in Canada, as they are in the United States, and it's just a great atmosphere. You really get the sense that this is a championship event here in Croatia, and all the drivers are locked in. The ones that are going for the championship, they're focused. They're not really, hanging around and joking. Like, they're locked in, and it's that intensity that you get with NASCAR racing. So I love it. I'm super excited to be here, and I'm looking forward to a great finale here today. So good stuff.
Thank you so much, and it's an honor to have you here.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks.
He did the start command yesterday, and we'll see if he does it again today. I'm not quite sure who's scheduled for it yet. But great to have some of the NASCAR representatives from the US filtering over to Europe to have a look at the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series up close and personal. And while we try and do our very best to put across just what the atmosphere is like in this paddock, you do have to be here to really take it in. So if you are lucky enough to be within a driving radius or just a travelling radius of any of the circuits where the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series competes, I strongly suggest you make your way over here in the not too distant future. And you see there some of the pit crews, young and old, and indeed fans young and old, getting the opportunity to get up close and personal with the cars. They might need a slight seat insert for that new junior trophy driver that they're trying to install into the car. Wow, I remember almost losing my hearing as a child, courtesy of a McLaren Can-Am car. I think these EuroNASCARs are a little bit quieter than the old McLarens of the 70s. However, they do really make the ground rumble, particularly in, say, the Brands Hatch paddock. Earlier this year, that the circuit surrounds the paddock at Brands Hatch, of course, and that just means you've got this surround of noise, these V8s thumping around the circuit. It's really something special. But yeah, I'm sure Jason Simmons from NASCAR's international department very much enjoying the sights and sounds this weekend, as he said in his interview there. There's the helmet of Claudio Remeggio Capelli. He's still got about 20 minutes before he really needs to get himself suited and booted. The countdown to command, 22 minutes away. I think this could be a good opportunity, unless Andre's got someone lined up imminently, to have a look at the track layout, if possible. The circuit, of course, here at the Automotodrom Grobnik. And here is the circuit from above, a good view here of the 17 corners we face, over 4.168 kilometers, just about 2.6 miles. As you can see, there are lots of challenging corners, lots of mid-speed corners where you really have to fight the car. There aren't that many deep braking zones. It's into turns 1 and 2 and potentially turns 15, 16, the primary overtaking opportunities. Turn 5 as well, that is known as the Rijeka corner. Turn 2, turn 5, turn 15, if there's going to be overtaking here today, that is most likely where it's going to happen. You get a good slipstream down the back straight and down the start-finish straight. That could potentially be where any moves are made. And for Gianmarco Ercoli, overtaking is of the essence. Overtaking the least of the worries, though, for our organisers. Back down to Andre.
Thank you so much. I'm now here with the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series president and CEO Jérôme Galpin. Another season in the books with amazing battles, amazing fights for the championships. How happy are you?
I'm happy. We are not in the book yet. Don't tell this guy we are in the book, because they will not let it in the book. Neither this one on the 24th. So now we expect to have a last great race. 22 already was an amazing season, and already worked pretty hard on 23. But let's finish this one in the best way with I hope a great race, a great show, and good ceremony tonight.
Thank you so much. Merci beaucoup. Enjoy it.
Have fun.
Wonder if I can get involved in the post-event proceedings somewhere or another. I'm not sure that Skype has those facilities that they'll have at the post-season event today. Unfortunately, I have to be well away from the track by then. Great to hear from Jérôme Galpin. Of course, he and the family behind Team FJ work very hard to make the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series possible. To get the cars and the teams and the drivers all set up for a good season, to keep the cost down, to make sure that it remains what it always has been here in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series, and that is highly competitive, very much accessible racing, accessible in terms of people being able to tune in, people being able to watch and see the sponsors on the cars, but also in the sense of it being accessible for teams, because of course, you don't want to price people out, and the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series is often a cheaper proposition than some other series with cars of equivalent or indeed lower performance than these stock cars that we have here in this series. So it really is a great proposition for young talents, for teams to get involved, and Jérôme and the team do a great job of making sure the series is as good as it can be, not just for us watching, but also for the competitors. Do like the shark decals on the 18 Race Art car there. Giorgio Maggi will not be looming behind anybody at the start of this race. Of course, he will be on pole position. Just getting a look here at the points attributions, the points allocations for this race. We alluded to the fact earlier on that Alan Day would need to finish 6th or lower in order to lose this championship, and Gianmarco Ercoli would need to win the race in that scenario. It's 80 points for a race win here in the finals weekend. Double points, of course, attributed this weekend. 70 points for second, 68 for third, and then it goes down in twos all the way down to 36th place. We don't have 36 cars competing, though, so that's not a concern. We've got double points this weekend, 8 points as well for most positions gained as well, which could be critical for Alexander Graf if he can work his way through the order in a timely fashion today. Certainly the most positions gained award here. Oh, I have to pause. Look at that lovely doggy. Oh, that's a wonderful sight. Very good boy on the paddock, and Andre Viegold wants to laugh at me immensely. He, though, is with Anthony Kumpen.
I was thinking you were saying good boy to me too, but I'm here with one of the most successful drivers and also team managers in the EuroNASCAR world, Anthony Kumpen. Alan Day, the championship contender, the championship leader. What are you expecting of your driver?
Yeah, you know, it's always difficult going into the last race with a small lead because the lead is not so big, but he's experienced enough. I think the car is good. We did some minor changes this morning for the warm-up and it worked well, so we hope to grab this title for him and for the team because we're participating in 3 championships this year. We won 2 titles, so it would be fantastic if the team could get this other title as well.
I bet that you tasted blood when you had your own comeback at Circuit Zolder and you're eager to lift the trophy by yourself in 2023 maybe?
Yeah, that looks pretty good for 223, so probably or almost definitely I will be back on the grid next year, and 24 is my number, so he has to take another number. But first we work for today and I want Alan to win the championship, and then next year we can fight together.
Yeah, there are plenty of numbers left, so that's no problem. So I'm looking forward to seeing you again next year.
Yeah, I'm happy to come back. You know, it's a fantastic championship, and I'm the only thing that I want to do is grab another ring. So let's try for it next year.
Thank you, Will. And back to the good boy, Adam.
The dog was the good boy, Andre. It was such a cute dog. I can't believe you missed it. It's down by Sebastian Blakemolen's car if you want to say hello to the doggy. Great to hear from Anthony Kumpen in the number 24 camp. I think they need to have a best 2 out of 3 falls arm wrestle to see who gets the number 24 at the end of this year. And it will be compelling to see what Anthony Kumpen does if he, as he says, almost definitely re-emerges on a full-time basis in the 2023 season. I think our countdown to command clock might be a little bit slow because we've got 50 minutes to go, but it very much looks as though we might be getting ready for one shortly. Although I think officially it should be 15 minutes before we get the command. But you did see there some of the FIA representatives chatting to our NASCAR representatives. That's another interesting thing about the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. It does kind of bring people together. We do have NASCAR representatives, American representatives coming over to our events and seeing the events up close and personal, and that gives the opportunity to network really for the European teams, organisers and so on, to pick the brains of some of the brilliant NASCAR officials and personnel from the United States. So we continue to await the beginning of this race. A few other storylines to tell you about up and down the paddock. Patrick Lemarie, he was desperate to claim a win yesterday. He didn't quite manage it, despite a strong starting position. He'll be starting the number 5 car from 5th on the grid. So he will be looking to get this underway in a good manner and maybe work his way up to a highest position. So keep an eye on Patrick Lemarie from 5th place. Vittorio Garelli as well. We mentioned the fact that his car really caught fire underneath him, quite literally, earlier on. National anthem, I believe. So there we go. The US and Croatian national anthems played back to back, as is tradition here when we're in Grobnik in the Croatian vicinity. And of course, throughout the year, we play the US national anthem along with the local national anthem to represent the fact that this weekend is always about Americana, bringing American-style racing over to Europe, of course, bringing American-style pace cars over to Europe as well every now and then. There's always lots going on. There's usually a good, healthy hamper of American foods as well as American cars. And occasionally some American dress sense. You do often see some lovely official NASCAR merch available here. In the paddocks as well, it really is a great opportunity for European-based fans of American motorsport to lap in the style, the essence of racing out in the United States. And I'd say that with every passing year, the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series becomes more and more relevant to the NASCAR Cup Series and the American divisions, but more on that point in just a minute.
Yes, I'm here down on the grid with Davrin Stetner and Robert Djukovic. And yeah, you're the FEI responsible guy for the Croatian Federation. So how do you like the event? How is it going so far?
So this is really a major event for Croatia, and I'm really happy that we've done everything possible to keep this race here. You can see the grid, you can see the people's smiles, everything looks fine, and I really can congratulate Jerome and the whole NASCAR Whelen Euro Series team for the hard work, but also to commend Automotodrom Grobnik, because they did major improvement in safety, and as a president of the Croatian Federation and the member of the FIA, we are always looking safety to be on the higher level, and so I really congratulate the guys at Grobnik for the job they did. So, but we're really happy, and it's a sunny day, it's beautiful, I can see lots of kids, and it's really important, so we have a really nice time.
Thank you so much. What about you? What about your thoughts about the event?
Davrin took my whole word, so I have nothing to add, but we are very proud, third year in a row, EuroNASCAR series here and on our track, and we give a big effort to prepare this event, and we are very happy, especially for the weather for the end of October, so hope the last race will finish as all before, and good luck for all drivers and all clients, competitors and spectators.
Thank you so much, and thank you for making it happening.
Always.
Thank you. Thank you. Sorry?
He's Andre getting snubbed for the handshakes down there, but great to see so that Croatia and the Croatian motorsport community at large are so proud to have the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. It was alluded to during those interviews there. This Automotodrom Grobnik has come on leaps and bounds in recent years in terms of safety, in terms of facilities for the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series events, for the other major events they hold, including the FIM Sidecar World Championship. They do work hard here at this circuit to make things as good as humanly possible. And yeah, great to hear from both of those guys. Of course, Davrin Stetner will get the opportunity to give this race its countdown command, or rather give the command at the end of the countdown for drivers to start the engines. He'll do that alongside the Mayor of Rijeka as well. So we're going to have some more of the Croatian dignitaries giving the command very shortly indeed. We've had all manner of people over the years trigger the start of the engines here in EuroNASCAR. EuroNASCAR Pro is just about 7 minutes away from getting those engines started. It's going to be a really exciting race here. We've got so much riding on this race. Certainly for Gianmarco Ercoli, it's going to be a battle of perseverance. It's going to be a race that he needs to give more than 110% to. He's going to need to push hard. We said it earlier on, we haven't seen a winner so far this weekend from off the front row. So Ercoli is facing a battle, and not only does Ercoli need to perform magnificently, he needs Alan Day to falter. And while Gianmarco Ercoli often performs brilliantly, Alan Day rarely falters. So it really is all things in Alon's court right now, but there's still a long way to go. And if he finishes outside the top 5, if he finishes 6th or worse, and Gianmarco Adecoli takes the win, then we could yet see a championship going to the 54 Cal Racing team, the Pink Peril, as I've occasionally called it here in the commentary box. And so, just to illustrate how close things were in the previous race, the top 19 split by less than 2 seconds around the lap in terms of fastest lap time. Of course, fastest lap time is what determines the grid for this second race. So the fastest laps in race 1 really do matter. Of course, we saw a good example of that in Zolder with the 88 car. They actually replaced the gearbox for Alberto Nasca mid-race in order to get the car back out there and try and set a fast lap. Of course, Nasca unfortunately lost the title in EuroNASCAR 2 at the final hurdle. He came in with a 3-point lead. Ultimately, he finished behind Liam Hasemans, who took the win today to secure his EuroNASCAR 2 championship. Certainly, I think fans of Alberto Nasca would be excited to hear what he had to say to Andre at the end of the race earlier on. He said, you know what, well, next year we might be having a go at both divisions. So perhaps we will see Alberto Nasca in both EuroNASCAR Pro and EuroNASCAR 2 next year. That would be very exciting if it were to be the case. There is the gorgeous Chevrolet Corvette C3 getting fired up. Surprised Andre hasn't tried to get the keys to that yet. Certainly I would, if I was in such close proximity. The C3 Corvette of the 70s and into the early 80s. If memory serves me correctly, the C4 Corvette replaced it for the 1984 model year. I could be a little bit out on my recollections there. Of course, they're now up to the C8. Which is a contemporary road and indeed a racing car that we see across the world. And I'm sure we're going to see a lot more of it as they work on their GT3 program for the years to come. So 3.5 minutes until the countdown commands. If you're unfamiliar with these cars, they're 400 brake horsepower, they're 1,200 kilos. That means that they are very, very fast indeed. They're quicker around this circuit than a TCR car, depending where we are in the world. You can also see them be quicker than a GT4, though that kind of varies from circuit to circuit. The performance versus the cost is a very compelling proposition here in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. And we always enjoy seeing the racing action because these cars lend themselves to brilliant competition. Certainly this young man, Liam Hasemans, would love the opportunity to fight at the front in this race. He's going to have to start from 7th position. I think this race is going to be a bit of a celebration for Liam Hasemans. He's already our EuroNASCAR 2 champion, and I could see him finally putting caution to the wind and pushing to the absolute maximum within the EuroNASCAR Pro to see what he can do. He's out of the junior championship battle, more or less. Of course, he wasn't in the first weekend of the year in EuroNASCAR Pro. At Valencia, he was focusing solely on EuroNASCAR 2. So I think Hasemans, in reality, has always seen EuroNASCAR Pro as a challenge for himself on a personal level, more so than a challenge for a championship this year. I'm sure that he will be pressing on to try and secure a podium potentially today, though from 7th place, that could be tricky. Some of the other drivers to keep an eye on, I'd say Henri Tuamala from 14th on the grid. He could make up some positions. He's often been in amongst the battles so far this year. Fabrizio Armetta, he will be working hard to try and maybe put himself within range of Massimiliano Lanza within the Legends, or rather within the Challenger Trophy class. Frederic Gavillon as well. I'd say he's out of position down in 17th along with Alexander Graf. So that's a very fast 9th row of the grid. I'm sure both drivers will be trying to work their way through the order. We see there the 69 car of Sebastian Bleekemolen. Of course, Melvin de Groot, the pilot for that car in the EuroNASCAR 2 category. He has taken the Legend Trophy class within that series. Also, we should say a congratulations to Luli Del Castello, who has taken a championship in the 54 car, no less, that's now piloted by Gianmarco Ercoli. She took the Lady Trophy category in the race earlier on. In the EuroNASCAR 2 category. So no pressure, Gianmarco. We've already seen that your car can win a championship. The question is, can it win the championship, the EuroNASCAR Pro overall title here today? Again, it's going to take maybe a little bit of faltering from Alan Day. 30 seconds until the command is given. It will be given by Davorin Stetner from the Croatian FIA. 15 seconds until command. Let's go down to the grid.
Mr. Davorin Stetner!
Drivers, start your engines!
Something tells me he's been rehearsing that in the bathroom. That was a very committed drivers start your engines. I enjoyed that immensely. He giving the command there, Davorin Stetner. And we now get ready for things to get serious in the championship. No more good boys now. It's all about going racing. It's Giorgio Maggi and Alan Day on the front row of the grid. And Alan Day, of course, with the championship in his grasp. He has one hand on the championship. He's 16 points clear of Giorgio Maggi, of Gianmarco Ercoli. However, a win for Ercoli and a poor day for Alan Day could put the championship in jeopardy for the 24 PK Car Sport crew. We've seen things get physical occasionally in the EuroNASCAR Pro division so far this year. There have been battles, there have been spare parts dipped into this year. Let's see if the season finale brings a last twist of drama, a last shake of seasoning onto what has been an incredible 2022 season for EuroNASCAR Pro. It is Giorgio Maggi on pole position for Race Art Technology, the Swiss in the 18 car, and he will line up alongside Alan Day in the 24 PK Car Sport machine. In third place is Sebastian Bleekemolen for the Netherlands. He will be looking to secure his second victory of the year. Gianmarco Ercoli lining up fourth on the grid. He is joining that second row. Patrick Lemery on row 3. He's alongside Vittorio Gurelli. Gurelli will be looking to maybe secure another podium after a good result at Zolder last time. Liam Hasemans, the EuroNASCAR 2 champion from earlier today, alongside Roman Iannetta on row 4. And it's Mark Goossens, the vastly experienced Belgian competitor. He is 9th place alongside Nicolo Roca. That's our top 10 as the cars take off on their formation lap, and I'm sure you do need the ear defenders down there. The cars reverberating through the Croatian countryside for the final time this weekend. The championship is on the line and will be contested over 17 laps unless there's overtime towards the end of the race. So Giorgio Maggi, he can focus on trying to claim his race win today. He's not a factor in the overall championship necessarily. He's 40 points back, so it would take a lot of drama for a lot of people for Maggi to claim the overall title. He is well clear of Liam Hasemans within the junior class here, especially since Hasemans hasn't competed all season. So Giorgio Maggi is well clear of anyone else in the junior category. So he can focus on trying to take that race win. Alan Day will be looking at what's going on around him. We heard it earlier on. He said, you know what? I take this race just like any other, so I'm not interested in cruising around. I'm interested in winning. And that is exactly the right attitude. You don't want to try and preserve the car, try and be careful, because inevitably when you're trying to be extra careful and you're walking on eggshells, that's when dramas unfold around you, none of which are your fault. So I think Alan Day doing the right thing, keeping centered on the race, keeping focused on everything going on around him, and just treating it like any other race, when in reality this is anything but. This is the final race of the EuroNASCAR Pro season. It's the finals weekend here in Croatia, and this is the biggest one of all. We've already had one champion crowned today in the form of Liam Hasemans. He's there on the 4th row of the EuroNASCAR Pro grid, newly minted as the EuroNASCAR 2 champion of 2022. Who will join him in Champions Row in 2022 in EuroNASCAR Pro? Of course, there are classes to be won as well. It's close between Lanza and Tuamala in the Challenger Trophy. They're tied on points coming into this season-deciding event. So there are a couple of championships to keep tabs of. But for Alan Day, he's focused solely on trying to hold off Gianmarco Ercoli and staying the favourite in the championship. 16 points between Day and Ercoli in the championship race, and a lot less between them on the track as they line up in 2x2 formation. It's Giorgio Maggi on pole position, Alan Day alongside him. We're underway and racing. They head through the kink at turn 1 into turn 2, and Maggi trying to hold on to the inside line through turn 2. He does so. Ercoli up to 3rd place there. Everyone else safely through the first couple of corners by the looks of it. Giorgio Maggi hung out to dry on the outside at turn 3. Has that allowed Alan Day through? No, they're still side by side, and resolutely Giorgio Maggi stays in the lead just ahead of Alan Day, and Gianmarco Ercoli will be an unwelcome sight for the driver of the 24. He's immediately attached to the rear end of Alan Day, immediately looking to the inside at turn 6. Oh, goodness me, let's not start to descend into chaos before we've even really got the race underway. Alan Day, Gianmarco Ercoli, line astern in 2nd and 3rd position right now. As long as Ercoli's behind Alan Day, it's no stress for the driver of the 24. As long as he's comfortably outscoring Ercoli, all is well. Ercoli can outscore Day without it being too big of an issue. Ercoli, though, looks to the inside. He's got a nose alongside. He's side by side with Alan Day, and he drifts the car out wide. Oh, no! Alan Day onto the grass. It's happened immediately. It's happened on lap 1. Alan Day and Gianmarco Ercoli have made slight contact. It's slight contact with severe consequences, however, as Alan Day has dropped down as far as 5th place. Oh, goodness me. Well, I've been teasing the fact that there has been contact between them on various occasions so far this year. I didn't think it would happen quite so soon, but it has. Goodness me. Alan Day demoted to 5th place. Gianmarco Ercoli then running in 2nd. He was very late on the brakes. He couldn't quite get to the apex. I don't think there was that much intent in that, at least that's what I'm choosing to believe. But that has cost Alan Day dearly. Goodness me. Well, Giorgio Maggi is our race leader. Gianmarco Ercoli is in 2nd place. He's got Blekemolen and Lemery between himself and Alan Day. It must be said that I think after that, if Alan Day gets up to Gianmarco Ercoli again, a receipt is due from Alan Day to Gianmarco Ercoli. Let's see if that proves to be the case. Let's see if the car is okay for Ercoli. It doesn't look great in a straight line, does it? Because Sebastian Blekemolen is closing in on him in a big way. Patrick Lemery is also taking advantage of the slipstream, but I'm just wondering whether Ercoli is struggling for pace right now. It looks as though he's dropped off the back of Giorgio Maggi. Here's a replay as just drifting wide was Ercoli. There was an initial bit of contact that sent Ercoli sideways, and then further contact between the two of them put Alan Day down to 5th place, and Sebastian Blekemolen suddenly has some damage. I'm not sure he had that damage when we cut away to the replay. There has something been going on while we were away from the live pictures. We're on to lap 3 of the race, and Blekemolen is all over the back of Gianmarco Ercoli. Patrick Lemery is there too. Oh, and off circuit in a big way there goes the 44 car. Now, Not entirely sure where that is out on circuit, but the 44 is off the track there. That was Rout Yarvi having a moment. Shame for him to be off in the gravel quite so early. So it's a comfortable lead right now for Giorgio Maggi. He's going to be hoping that there's no safety car to retrieve the stricken 44 car of Joni Rout Yarvi. I think we need to get a look at what... Oh, okay. Well, that is not good, is it? Second time in 2 races today that we've seen the tyre barrier get collected, and I dare suggest that there's a lot of tyre barrier on the circuit right now. Let's wait and see whether the marshals have been able to clear it up between laps. We now arrive at turn 17. Oh, there's a lot down there. Yeah, safety car is out. I'm glad to see that because it just simply wasn't on to keep racing through all of that. So safety car deployed, and well, it seems that if we put tyre barrier against EuroNASCAR, tyre barrier wins every time, and that's what Joni Rout Yarvi just found out. The Finnish racer competing for Team Bleekemolen this weekend, unfortunately into the gravel. I believe he might be down at turn 2, but the car being well away from the circuit in the gravel isn't the issue. The issue is the carnage, chaos, debris and tyres that he's left on the main straight. Well, it's been a dramatic start, hasn't it? We've already seen contact between Coley and Alan Day. Here's a replay of the 44 car being a little bit too greedy on the inside of turn 17. And a slight misjudgment has major consequences up against the tyre stack. So I imagine this won't be the longest safety car we've ever had. They might be able to get it done in 2 laps. We'll have to wait and see. There's quite a lot of debris down. There are some tyres that need to be reclaimed. And of course there is the matter of potentially recovering Rout Yarvi's car, but I get the feeling it shouldn't be the longest process. Let's wait and see though. But for Giorgio Maggi, the 18 car, it is quite a kick in the teeth really. He was 3 seconds clear last time across the line over Gianmarco Ercoli. He was building a gap over Ercoli. And now, unfortunately, that gap has been eroded away. And I tell you what, if I'm Gianmarco Ercoli, I'm conscious of the fact that suddenly Alan Day is a lot closer to me than he was a couple of laps ago as well. Of course, he's still got Bleekemolen and Lemarie behind, or between, himself and Alan Day, does Gianmarco Ercoli, but the gap is less now. As it stands, even if Ercoli was to pass Giorgio Maggi and Alan Day was to remain in 5th place, it would still be the championship for Maggi, for Ercoli. They would be tiebreaker in that situation because Ercoli would score 16 more points than Alan Day, and that would bring them to an equal point score. But Alan Day with more victories would secure the championship on countback per my understanding. So Alan Day will need to lose at least 1 position, and Gianmarco Ercoli will have to gain at least 1 position as things stand for Gianmarco Ercoli to take this championship. A replay then of the start, and it was a very well managed start from Giorgio Maggi. He fell behind Alan Day on the approach to turn 1, but he was late on the brakes. He managed to hold on around the outside at turns 3 and 4 to lead by the time they got to turn 5. But the real story came at turn 15, the Zagreb bend, when it finally, not even finally, it immediately happened between Alan Day and Giorgio Maggi and Gianmarco Ercoli. I don't know why I'm getting Ercoli and Maggi mixed up so much today. My apologies. Championship Sunday has an effect on us all, clearly. And Gianmarco Ercoli in that 54 car, just behind the 18 of Maggi right now. It's Ercoli who is the closest contender to Alan Day in the championship, of course. And I must say a word for Alexander Graf, because he is up in 13th place right now, having started in 18th, so he's already gained 5 positions. Fabrizio Armetta has lost a significant portion of his car by the looks of it. But 13th from 18th on the grid is not bad going at all from Alexander Graf. I did note, however, that he's got a little bit of damage as well, so I'm not sure if the car is fully A1. It certainly looks as though the bonnet has had a slight hindrance at some point in this race already. So as always then, as you look down the field, you start to see battle scars on the cars. There's always more going on than the cameras can keep up with here in EuroNASCAR. That's not a commentary on our production crews. That's a commentary on just how frenetic these races are. There are always many things going on all at once, and the Croatian fans assembled for a great weekend of racing. They've had a great weekend of racing so far. The question that remains to be answered for them is, who will they be celebrating as champion in, well, 12 laps time? Will it be Coley? Will it be Alan Day? Certainly, with how things have gone so far in the race, Alan Day's chances are a little weaker than they were previously, but Gianmarco Ercole still needs to work hard and move into the lead, ideally, or Alan Day needs to have a rotten restart and a poor rest of the race. At least one more lap under safety car by the sounds of it. No, yep, so safety car is staying out for this lap, and one would imagine, with the tyre stack back up and ready to go, one would imagine that this should be the final lap under safety car conditions. It is now lap 6 of 17. We've completed 5 laps so far. Turn 2 corner that we're looking at there has a lot of camber, as a lot of these corners do. Can carry great speed even if you're on the outside line, and you can actually see on the circuit that the racing line, the bit where the rubber has really been laid down, is certainly more than 1 car width wide. I think side-by-side action is often a factor here at Grobnik, and as suspected, the safety car will be in this lap. We're expecting it to be a double file restart, and that has just been confirmed by race control as well. So it will be a double file restart for our audience here, which means a second 2x2 formation set of rolling thunder as they run down the main straight. Always exciting to see these cars take off in double file formation, and that could be advantageous for Gianmarco Ercole. We've seen on a few occasions the driver on the outside of the front row can challenge for the lead, so this could be big for the championship, and it could be big for Gianmarco Ercole. If he can work his way into the race lead, his championship chances surge, because there's 70 points on offer for P2 and 80 points on offer for P1. So we could be seeing a restart that is critical to the fate of this championship. Of course, Alan Day will have the inside of row 3. He could stand to lose some places if he's not careful on this restart. So there's a lot to play for here. It could be a very important few seconds of motor racing here in EuroNASCAR Pro. Maggi will have the inside line for turn 2. Of course, turn 1, the initial kink, is really a non-factor of a corner on a restart. So the leading driver is given the inside line for turn 2 here. Blake Molen and Lemery in 3rd and 4th places. Will they interfere in the battle at the sharp end? Will they come into any dramas as Alan Day tries to pick his way by? as we get this race back underway. Alan Day is currently still set to be our champion, but he's no longer as secure as he was previously. Keep an eye on that number 24 car with the red banner on the black and green machine. The double file formation is perfect, and we are about to go racing once again. It's Maggi versus Ercole at the front of the order. Maggi in the Swiss liveried car on the right-hand side of picture. Ercole on your left in the pink peril. It's side by side as they run down to the first corner, but it's a good start from Giorgio Maggi. He's back into the lead, and it looks like it could be fourth place for Alan Day. He's side by side with Patrick Lemery, but I think Lemery has just about held him off. Yes, he has. Patrick Lemery remains in fourth place ahead of Alan Day then. And it is still Giorgio Maggi in the lead of this race. Gianmarco Ercole is going to need to work for this one. Ercole so often is an aggressor on the circuit. He's a very challenging, attacking driver, and the successes he has had at times this season speak for themselves. However, he has had a run of misfortune at times as well. He had a collision with Alan Day back at Brands Hatch, of course, and that caused significant damage to Ercole's car and caused a penalty to Alan Day. Now we are in Grobnik. There's already been an instance of contact between the two of them, and look at Giorgio Maggi. He is so far clear of Ercole already, and again, I just get the feeling that Gianmarco Ercole is nursing a little something, because he does not seem to have the ultimate pace relative to Maggi up ahead. It's only a couple of car lengths, but still, it just doesn't seem that Ercole's car is quite working right underneath him right now. We know that the 88 Cal Racing car in the hands of Alberto Nasca didn't seem to be satisfying the Italian racer, and a lock up there from Ercole. Of course, the other factor here is that these tyres are quite old as well. These Hoosier rubbers have been through a qualifying and 2 races so far. Well, they're in the midst of a second race as it stands. And we spoke about the 88 car, and it seems to have bitten Massimilio Lanza, because he is off. I believe that's at turn 16 on the outside. He has had a big incident there. He was getting out of the car unassisted, so it seems that he's okay, but that car is stranded right next to the racing surface. You see the safety car has been deployed, unsurprisingly. And well, okay, safety car has bred safety car. Of course, every time we do get a safety car, it does assist these drivers in regards to the tyres that we were talking about just now. They do laps behind the safety car. They take less life out of the Hoosier rubber, which goes through qualifying, in some cases Super Pole, and also the 2 races. And that looks like that has been a hefty smash for Massimilio Lanza. And it was another tyre barrier. The tyre barriers, or the tyre stacks on the outside of the corners or on the inside of some of the corners, are there to deter people from corner cutting. You can see there where he's hit it at turn 16. It is there as a deterrent for corner cutting. Of course, the negative, the counterpoint to that, is that if you make a slight mistake, it can be very heavily punished. And that's exactly what Lanza has discovered there. It's also what the 44 car of Joni Rautjärvi discovered earlier on. Not a good end to the season for Massimilio Lanza, unfortunately. Teammate to Alberto Nasca. Unfortunately, the 88 car ends its year. Very second-hand looking indeed. Probably going to need 2, maybe 3 laps under safety car. Probably more likely to be 3 laps under safety car. I think a couple of people might have collected some of the excess tyres as well after that. Marshals, safety crews working hard immediately to get the circuit surface tidy. Hopefully the 88 car isn't too difficult to move. discussions going on down there at Mark 1 Racing. Giorgio Maggi remains our race leader here. Not only is he our race leader, but he is going to be our junior trophy champion. His results so far this year, Giorgio Maggi, he has not taken a win or a pole position yet. He had pole position today, of course. He has had 6 top 5s and 8 top 10s. Maggi has been there or thereabouts all year long. So for him, while everyone else is talking about the championship, as he said, you know what, I've got nothing to lose. I want this first win of the year. And if Gianmarco Ercoli thinks he's going to have an easy bye getting past Giorgio Maggi, then he's got quite another thing coming. Seems as though Massimilio Lanza is labouring a point to the marshals there. I'm not quite sure what point he is labouring, but he's certainly in conversation down there with the marshals. But nonetheless, the car is now behind the barriers. The tyre barrier, or the tyre stack has, or the old tyre stack has been removed from the racing surface. And so now we simply have to wait for the green light. And of course, what this does as well, we should mention this, we've been focusing on the overall title, but with Massimilio Lanza off the circuit, this leaves an open goal for Henri Tuamala to claim the Challenger Trophy in the last race. They were tied on 240 points apiece in Challenger, Massimilio Lanza and Henri Tuamala. And by my reckoning, Tuamala, with Lanza into the wall and taking no further part in this race, by my reckoning, Tuamala there in 9th overall is odds-on favourite now to potentially take a Challenger Trophy title home. And that would be a great result for the Finnish racer. Also finish 11th theoretically in the overall title. In fact, no, Vittorio Garelli and potentially Liam Hasemans may both overtake him in the championship race, but nonetheless, Tuamala is potentially due the Challenger Trophy if things finish as they are. Safety car has not been declared to be in this lap. Usually, if it is to be in this lap, it's already been announced, so I'm guessing we've got at least one more lap under safety car. And no sooner do I mention that, then we get the declaration that the safety car is in this lap. And we have the declaration that it's going to be a double file restart. Okay, so another opportunity to go 2x2 into the first corner. Sometimes by the second restart, they start to do single file instead. But on this occasion, we're double file again. Interesting. This could be an exciting restart then. Once again, it's going to be Giorgio Maggi and Gianmarco Ercoli drag racing down to the first corner. Keep an eye on Alan Day and Nicolo Rocca in 5th and 6th positions. As well, Alan Day once again cannot afford to lose too many places. And if Gianmarco Ercoli takes the race lead, he can't afford to even fall to 6th place, Alan Day. A great stat from Gianluca of the EuroNASCAR media team saying that Tuamala would be a record 3rd title so long as he can secure the Challenger Trophy today, which looks more than likely. So doff of the cap to Tuamala. He's got to get to the end though to ensure that title. The safety car is in and we are about to go racing once again. We're going to start lap 11 of 17 in 2x2 formation. It's Ercole and Maggi once again, and this time Ercole is the clear leader as they run down to the first corner. Gianmarco Ercole quick out of the blocks into the lead, and this now is critical for the championship, and it looks to me as if Alan Day has fallen to 6th place. Oh my goodness, oh, contact! A hit from the rear from Alan Day to Nicolo Rocca sent Sebastian Blekemolen off the circuit. It's all kicked off once again, and now Giorgio Maggi to the inside of the 54 of Gianmarco Ercole. I was just about to say that with Ercole in the lead and Alan Day in 6th, for the first time today, it looked as if Gianmarco Ercole was in contention to take the championship. If things had finished as they were briefly there, with Ercole in 1st and Alan Day in 6th, the championship would have gone to Ercole. But now the question mark is, what happened for Alan Day there, and will it be penalised? We saw him into the back of Nicolo Rocca. That sent Rocca into Sebastian Blekemolen, who in turn ended up on the grass as a result of that. So Alan Day unquestionably triggered that incident. And we just saw the 54 car, I believe it was, stationary as well. Not the 54, sorry, the 55 car stationary. Or was that the 65? But I am getting word that potentially the 54 started before the signal as well. So there's a lot of discussion going on here. And the safety car, I think, has been declared again because everyone is slow. Not seeing a graphic to confirm that. Full course yellow. So full course yellow, they have to drive in a set gear at set RPM under full course yellow. Okay, so full course yellow has been declared. Well, it's all been a little bit hair on fire. And it was the 65 car, not the 55. I just caught a look at it on camera. I was studying the timing screen, and then just as I looked towards the live feed again, it flicked away. But it was the 65 car that was having the issue there. It has come to a halt, so that's Romagnoli's race come to a premature end. We saw there as well the number 3 car of Frédéric Gabillon. He's down in 19th place, and he is very slowly limping back towards the pit lane. Now, were the two incidents connected between Gabillon and Romagnoli? I'm not sure. But we can see that the number 3 car is unfortunately going to end its season. And in the garages by the looks of it. So some speculation as to whether this start was considered okay. I understand race control actually has declared the start okay, so I think potentially Gianmarco Ercole just got a good start. But we'll have to see. And there you see the contact between Rocca and Blekemolen, which was triggered by a tag from Alan Day to Nicolo Rocca. And unfortunately for Frédéric Gabillon, the number 3 car goes no further today. Safety car then has been deployed. We tried to cover the incident under full course yellow, but we have now gone to safety car. Well, this has been a difficult race for everybody so far. With all of these pauses, of course, it becomes very difficult for the drivers to remain focused and stay on their mojo. So Ercole is still our race leader. Giorgio Maggi there in 2nd place. In 3rd is Patrick Lemarie. Nicolo Rocca in 4th place. Alan Day in 5th position. As it stands, it would be a tie in the points if things were to finish as they are. But it would fall in Alan Day's favour because of the countback. So it really is at a almost an Abu Dhabi 2021 style stalemate right now, if you are a fan of all things Formula One. But it's arguably a little more controversial than that right now, because we've seen the contact going on with Alan Day. We've seen instances of contact between both parties already. And yeah, there's a lot to untangle here. I get the feeling that no matter which way the championship goes on track, there's still going to be a bit of an asterisk until discussions are had down in race control. Nonetheless, Gianmarco Ercole is our race leader. Of course, Martin Dubek in 6th place. He's directly behind Alan Day. Dubek is always a elbows out kind of racer, in my opinion. And he would be very keen to move up into the top 5 to end his season. Of course, he tried to defend his EuroNASCAR 2 title this year, and he did not succeed at doing so. So I think a little chip on the shoulder potentially coming into this last EuroNASCAR Pro race, and potentially the feeling that he should at least end the season on a high in the top 5. So Vittorio Garelli is in 7th place ahead of Liam Hazeman's Henri Tuamala, and Alexander Graf, who again up into 10th place, has made up some good positions. I think, as it stands, Alexander Graf would be due his 8 points for the most overtakes, or I should say most positions gained as well. Which, as long as Ercole and Day are still ahead of him, it doesn't necessarily put him back into championship contention. But it does mean that his 3rd place in the championship would be a little more secure over Giorgio Maggi. At the start of this race, with Alexander Graf down in 18th place and Giorgio Maggi on pole, it looked like it was going to be Maggi for 3rd in the championship, but Alexander Graf has slowly turned the tables back in his favour. This is the very start of the race. Doesn't this feel like a long time ago? Alan Day and Giorgio Maggi side by side into turn 1, and Maggi held on to the lead in the early going. Alan Day and Gianmarco Ercole on the first lap of the race. Contact between them as Ercole dived to the inside and then got crossed up, pushed Alan Day off the circuit. That is why Alan Day finds himself down in 5th position right now. And then we saw this, the first of 2 tyre stacks to fall victim to a EuroNASCAR. Although the tyres just bounce away, the EuroNASCAR does not. We had a couple of restarts. Of course, this was restart number 1, which Giorgio Maggi resolutely won the drag race down to the first couple of turns. However, we would soon see another safety car scramble because Massimiliano Lanza would make contact with a tyre stack. That is the incident in question, with Lanza's 88 car falling foul to the tyres. And we would then see another restart, of course, and that restart would prove to be a little more impactful, as Gianmarco Ercole moved himself up into the lead. Meanwhile, briefly, Alan Day found himself in 6th place. However, a tag to the back of Nicolo Rocca, consequently causing damage or causing another instance of contact between Rocca and Bleekemolen. So Bleekemolen really the unfair victim of a ricochet there. And Fred Gabion also with damage. But they're 2 by 2 again, and the safety car is due to come back in this lap. So we are doing another 2 by 2 rolling start Oh, goodness me. It's Gianmarco Ercole in the lead with the inside for turn 2, and he's up against Giorgio Maggi. Back there on the third row of the grid, Alan Day has some work to do to try and make up some positions and at least make sure he doesn't lose any more. The green lights are on and we're racing once again, and it's about even, I'd say, at the front between Maggi and Ercole. Ercole in the pink peril with the inside line, though, leads into turn 2. He is still our race leader, but Giorgio Maggi is trying his darndest to find a way through. Liam Hazeman's getting into it there with Martin Dubeck further back at turn 3. But for now, most things are just as they were prior to the safety car, with Nicolo Rocca there in third, Lemarie in fourth. So Rocca's moved up to third place. All sorts of side-by-side going on further back there. A couple of cars trying to find a way to go too wide through turn 6. There's a reason that doesn't happen. That's because it's not really all that possible. It is, though, Gianmarco Ercole in the lead of the race. Alan Day is there in 5th place. At the moment, it would be a tie in the championship. If things were to end now, it would be a tie in the championship, with Alan Day securing it on countback. It is Giorgio Maggi, though, in the slipstream of Gianmarco Ercole. Now, Ercole's car didn't look strong in the early phase of this race, at least not up against Giorgio Maggi. And look at Maggi, he's got to the apex there. Ercole couldn't help but drift wide, and contact, and a spin, and Gianmarco Ercole is off onto the grass, and this is going to be the moment that determines the championship. Liam Hazeman is into the wall as well. Giorgio Maggi leads, but he's got damage. Patrick Lemarie is there in 2nd place. Then it's Nicolo Rocca. Then it's Alan Day, who suddenly is secure in his championship. But oh goodness, not like this. Giorgio Maggi into the gravel as well, as a legacy of that contact with Gianmarco Ercole. And you best believe there are going to be words between Ercole and Giorgio Maggi after that one. Oh goodness me, it has ended. The title fight seemingly in contact. That 54 car, I believe, did get going again. I think Gianmarco Ercole is still running down in 14th place, but he is no longer in a position to try and claim the championship from Alan Day, who is suddenly secure, running in 3rd place. It is the number 5 car of Patrick Lemarie that leads. He said he was going to go for a win this year. Oh, and a spin further back. That's Leonardo Colavita. He's got a tyre down by the looks of it. Puncture for Colavita. And that car is parked in a less than savoury place as well. We're on the penultimate lap of the race, lap 16 of 17, and we've got a car in a dangerous position. Let's see what action is taken. The 56 car, Nicolo Rocca, close behind Patrick Lemarie. Lemarie said, you know what, these championship guys, they'll have their fight and I'll disappear off into the race lead. And well, he's not disappeared off into the lead yet. He's got Nicolo Rocca for company. However, Lemarie does in fact lead the Sunday race here in EuroNASCAR Pro. And it is Patrick Lemarie ahead of Nicolo Rocca right now. Alan Day there in 3rd place. He is set to end his season on the podium and end his season as a 4-time EuroNASCAR champion, as we are now on the final lap of the race. And it is certainly a controversial day here in Croatia. I think there are going to be discussions held long into the night here as to exactly who was at fault for what and when. However, Patrick Lemarie has kept his nose largely clean so far, and he is our race leader. Gianmarco Ercole has moved up to 12th place, so he is gaining positions and the car is still running nicely. However, it's too little too late, so long as Alan Day crosses the line here. And even then, I think if Alan Day lost out with Gianmarco Ercole outside the top 10, I still don't think Ercole would score enough points to worry Alan Day in the championship. It's Patrick Lemarie, just a few corners from home and a few corners from victory here on the season-deciding Sunday in the finals of the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. Lemarie and Nicolo Rocca at close proximity as they run through the Zagreb corner for the final time. Not quite close enough is Nicolo Rocca. It's going to be Patrick Lemery who comes across the line to take the win, and it's going to be Alan Day who takes third place, and in doing so he becomes the 2022 EuroNASCAR Pro Champion, at least provisionally. He finishes third ahead of Martin Dubek. Alexander Graf taking fifth place ahead of Mark Goosens, and you see there the damaged masses coming across the line further back in the order. Gianmarco Ercoli finished in 12th place, and he will not see a championship this year, unfortunately for him. Well, we spoke about Patrick Lemery yesterday. We said he's the oldest podium finisher in NASCAR Whelen in EuroNASCAR Pro history, and now he is the oldest race winner in EuroNASCAR Pro history. His first win in EuroNASCAR for Patrick Lemery. Lemery has done it. He seemed confident about his chances here in the Croatian sunshine, and he has firmly backed up his thoughts. Alan Day, though, is our champion. Not without controversy. You will remember the big collision between Alan Day and Nicolo Rocca that sent Sebastian Bleekemolen off the circuit. However, as it stands, our champion is set to be Alan Day. Third place finish puts him well clear of Gianmarco Ercoli. I'll tell you what, that was every bit as dramatic as we expected. I think a lot of us expected Ercoli and Alan Day to scrap for the title at the front of the order. And while that never really proved to be the case, it was never a battle for first and second, they did get a few licks on each other in that race. A few instances of contacts, and, well, the biggest instance of contact at the sharp end didn't actually involve Alan Day. It was Giorgio Maggi, with Gianmarco Ercoli trying to close the door. He cut back across Giorgio Maggi. Maggi's nose was there, and contact between the two of them. Certainly, I think perhaps Ercoli was trying a bit too hard to go down the circuit there. I'm not sure he could really get down the track in that instance, and unfortunately Liam Hasemans ends his season with a spin as well. And then we saw the damage for Giorgio Maggi, sending him off the circuit. Would have been great to see him take a win today, but unfortunately the car just too wounded after that collision with Ercoli. Colavita also with a puncture. How much of that is down to debris and how much of that is down to tyres simply running out of juice, given the sheer amount of cornering events around this circuit, I'm not sure. But nonetheless, you see Patrick Lemery parked in front of the podium, and you see Alan Day not far behind either. Alan Day is a four-time EuroNASCAR champion, a four-time NASCAR Whelen Euro Series champion. He knows how to do a donut. I think he might be about to give us an example. Or maybe not. Alan Day, regardless of his celebrations or lack thereof, will be delighted with this championship. I have no doubt about that. I think, though, there is going to be an atmosphere this evening. I think that's fair to say. I think that's safe to say. A lot happened in that final race in both the Alan Day and Gianmarco Ercoli camps. We saw that collision between the two of them on lap 1 down at turn 15. Both parties then ended up involved in incidents separate from each other over the course of the race. There's going to be a lot to debrief and a lot to discuss in the paddock this evening. But for now, and now he's finally going to do some donuts. I thought he was primed to do some. And Alan Day celebrating a fourth NASCAR Whelen Euro Series championship, and is toasting those Hoosier tyres nicely. Of course, Alan, who has good amount of GT racing experience, has also competed in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, but the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series really has become his home turf over the last several seasons. A four-time champion, he is now going to be the reigning champion. He's taken that mantle away from Loris Hazemans. And he's in celebration mode with the teams, with his team, the PK Car Sport crew. Certainly, they don't think that there's a provisional asterisk on this title result. I'm inclined to think that this result, at least in terms of who is champion, I think it will stand regardless. I think that Alan Day has done enough to secure the championship. I do think, though, there will be discussions this evening in regard to this race. But I think it's safe to say and safe to celebrate, as the PK Car Sport crew is doing. I think it's safe to celebrate a fourth EuroNASCAR title for that man, Alan Day. Well, everyone gathering to celebrate along with Patrick Lemarie and Alan Day. In the case of Lemarie, you really do have to doff your cap to him. A first podium yesterday, a first win today, and he is going to be jubilant. He often cracks jokes at his own expense. Yeah, you know, I'm the old guy in the paddock, so on and so forth. Well, it seems he's coming into his prime at the ripe old age of 54 years old, because he has been on excellent form all year, and it has apexed here in Croatia in the season decider. Patrick Lemarie, not the most coordinated I've ever seen stood atop the roof of a stock car, I must say. And a great statistic as they celebrate from Reza, from the NASCAR media team. He says, do you know who the previous oldest winner was in EuroNASCAR Pro? It was none other than Patrick Lemarie's best buddy, Jacques Villeneuve, who, of course, secured a win at Vallelunga last year at the age of 50. And, well, Jacques Villeneuve, I'm sure he's watching on, and we say hello to Jacques. And congratulations to his best buddy, Patrick Lemarie, who stands with Andre Viegold now. Thankfully, he's gotten off the car and is back on terra firma.
Thank you so much, Adam. Patrick Lemarie, welcome to Victory Lane.
Thank you very much. It's a great feeling. I'm so happy. We had a very strong weekend. It's been the beginning of the season. We're waiting for this kind of weekend full with good results. I'm so happy for the team, for Federico. It feels good. I feel great. It feels great to win.
Is it just the beginning? Next year, maybe you can add some more victories to your tally?
Yeah, I hope so, because, I stayed 15 years without racing, and since Jacques Villeneuve told me, you should race NASCAR, it's unbelievable, and the series is amazing. I think the series EuroNASCAR is fantastic. And now I'm ready for 25 years more.
Perfectly. I would love to see you back in this car. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Patrick. And there you hear the calls of Patrick. Patrick Lemarie is one of the men in demand, along with this guy, Alan Day, a four-time champion. Anthony Kumpen stood two to the left of him in the navy shirt. Could be a challenger to Alan Day's throne in 2023. We've already heard that Anthony Kumpen wants that 24 car. Now, though, let's go down to Andre Viegold, who waits with Alan Day.
You did it, man.
Yeah, I did it. I couldn't do it without PK Car Sport, and I think this is the moment to really say thanks to everybody in the team, in PK Car Sports. First of all, to Anthony that gave me the opportunity to drive here, and every person in this team that they work day and night. Carlo, Nico, Koen, Luke, Pete, Gert, everybody that works, really thanks a lot, and they deserve this championship more than I do, and I'm happy, and now it's time to celebrate with my wife in my honeymoon that I promised her a long time ago.
It was a roller coaster of emotions in the race with Ercole and you touching each other in the corner. You went back to 5th position. He was in the lead. It was all about one position. Then he was going out off track. We knew then you would be the champion. Just talk us through the emotions you had there.
I knew that the moment he will try to pass me, he will probably gonna do something, because he fight for the championship. He will try to put me out, and he did. And although I saw him coming in, I said, like, go ahead, take the position. I don't care. But eventually, he still decided to push me off. And yeah, he did a good season. And yeah, that's all. Congrats to Carl. I know that they work really hard. I know this team for a long time, but this time it's our time to celebrate.
There you go. So Alan Day in the midst of celebrations down there, and he will be a 4-time champion now in EuroNASCAR competition. Alan has been a revelation ever since arriving in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series categories, breaking pretty much every record there is to break in EuroNASCAR. And he is now a 4-time champion. And the 24 machine in the hands of Alan Day has made a formidable package in 2022. We understand the 24 is being claimed by Anthony Kumpen for 2023. We heard that in the interview earlier on. I'm sure Alan Day will be back in some capacity, and he will be celebrating this evening. You heard there he's got a honeymoon expected in the not too distant future as well. So all celebrations and all smiles for Alan Day, and excellent to see him happy with his result. Like I said, I think there's going to be a little bit of a discussion post-race with the stewards, but I don't think it's going to affect the championship outcome today. Nonetheless, let's take a look back at the race that was. And it was side by side in the early stages between Alan Day and Giorgio Maggi. Maggi would stamp his authority on the situation and go into the race lead, going around the outside at turns 3 and 4. Gianmarco Ercoli up the inside of Alan Day at turn 15 on lap number 1, and down to 5th place, make it 6th place briefly for Alan Day. And then we saw the first of 2 tyre stacks that got impacted by a NASCAR today. Or I should say by a stock car today, as the race got back started. On the first restart, it was the 18 car of Giorgio Maggi in the race lead. And there you see the 88 in a spin, another tyre stack collected, another safety car deployed, as Massimiliano Lanza unfortunately ends his season and his Challenger Trophy campaign in the grass. Incidentally, congratulations to Henri Tuamala, because we understand he has claimed the Challenger Trophy with Massimiliano Lanza's non-finish there. Another restart, and this time it was Gianmarco Ercoli in the race lead. Briefly down to 6th place was Alan Day, but contact between Day and Nicolo Rocca, sending eventually Sebastian Blakemolen down the order and off onto the grass. Frederic Gabillon also with some dramas. I believe he may have been involved in a collision with Romagnoli in the 65 car. But nonetheless, one last 2x2 formation restart. One last drag race between Maggi and Ercoli, and Ercoli would again be at the 4 of the order. However, the pace just didn't seem to quite be there for car number 54. He couldn't break away from Giorgio Maggi, and that would prove costly, as contact between the two of them sent Gianmarco Ercoli into a spin. Giorgio Maggi tried to get up the inside. Gianmarco Ercoli tried to shut the door. It was somewhat inevitable that they'd end up meeting in the middle, and that's exactly what happened. The two in a spin, or at least one of them in a spin, and unfortunately for Giorgio Maggi, his car was too damaged to continue in any significant manner. His car would end up with a puncture down at turn 2, out of the race. And Liam Hasemans would get caught up in a spin too. Hasemans' season has been a good one. He is the EuroNASCAR 2 champion of 2022. However, he found himself in a spin and out of his final EuroNASCAR Pro Race of the year. I'm sure he'll be back stronger in 2023. Here's the incident I referred to with Giorgio Maggi ending up in the grass. And we are down in the celebration zone with Henri Tuamala.
Thank you so much. I'm here with the Challenger Trophy winner, Henri Tuamala. You're happy?
Yeah, I am happy. I've been again Challenger Trophy and race was so crazy. I'm happy.
Something in Finnish for your fans?
Joo, tästä nyt tarvitsisi viiksi vaan lähteä jostain etsimään. En tiedä mihin ne on jäänyt, mutta eiköhän ne jostain löydy. Jos ei löydy, niin räkäyttää vähän sormia ja pyöräytellään viikset kuntoon illaksi.
Okay. Adam, have fun translating that.
No. Andre, no. You've reached the limits of my bilingualism long ago there. But Henri Tuamala, or I should say Henri Tuamala, I don't know why I'm Frenching him up quite so much, finishing 7th place there. He was just ahead of Fabrizio Armetta, who also gets a strong finish to his season in the 55 car. Claudio Remesio Capelli, he got that top 10 that we referenced at the start of the race. He finished in 9th place ahead of Cosimo Barberini in 10th place. Gianmarco Ercoli ended up in 11th place ultimately, so he did make up some positions towards the end. And discussions and celebrations ongoing down there as we await the podium ceremonies. Of course, we will get started with our overall podium celebrations. And that will be a big cheer, I'm sure, for Patrick Lemarie, who finally, after a long time trying, has not only secured his first podium, but also his first victory in the same weekend. You see there the Feed Racing banners. That's Jacques Villeneuve's initiative for young drivers. And that's prominently displayed on Patrick Lemarie's car. And Alan Day continues to receive plaudits, handshakes. And truly, Alan Day knows how to play the EuroNASCAR game better than anybody right now. A 4-time champion. I'm sure he'll be going for the 5. He's already got 1 for every finger. Let's see if he can get the thumb in 2023. Alexander Graf, he finished 5th place ultimately.
I'm here with Alexander Graf. It was a very tough season. You had your first win, you were in the championship contention, and then, yeah, it didn't meant to be here at Automotodrom Grobnik, but still a successful season, right?
Yes, absolutely. We had good speed in the beginning of the season, also every time until we get to Zolder. So the 2 last races has not been our best results, but today we show that never give up is giving prizes. So yeah, I'm super happy with the season. Unfortunately, we couldn't be there to fight for the championship in the end, but we did everything we could, and I think it's a silver medal.
We have to check.
We have to check. Yeah, but in the end, it's a podium, so it's good enough. Yeah.
We had Henri Tuamala saying something in Finnish. Sweden is right next to it, so we want to hear that language. A little shout out to your fans in Swedish, please.
The classic, and what everyone else wants to hear is skit på dig.
That's it?
Yeah. And Kalsari can it in Finnish. I can also some Suomi language.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Tack.
Yeah, so I think actually he's right about that, Alexander Graf, because he's taken 5th place there. I think he's also gained himself the most positions gained 8 points bonus, and there were only 8 points between himself and the 54 car of Gianmarco Ercoli coming into this one. So I believe he's quite right there to say that with the 5th place provisionally he should be the silver, the runner-up in the 2022 EuroNASCAR Pro Championship. So that is a great result for Alexander Graf. There weren't that many finishers ultimately. How many did take the flag eventually? Was it just 14? Goodness me, yes it was. So the finishing order as Patrick Lemery poses for the pictures. Let's run it through for you. I believe we did at one point, but let's refresh your memory. Patrick Lemery, our race winner, ahead of Nicolo Rocca and Alan Day, who is crowned as the 2022 EuroNASCAR Pro Champion. Martin Dubeck in fourth, Alexander Graf in fifth place, which seems to be good enough for him to be the runner-up. Mark Goosen sixth, Henry Tuamala in seventh, Fabrizio Armetta in seventh. Eighth place for Fabrizio Armetta, Claudio Remeggio Capelli in ninth, and Cosimo Barberini rounding out that top 10 ahead of Gianmarco Ercole, Dario Casso, Federico Monti, and Sebastian Blakemolin, eventually finishing in 14th. And it's podium time. The drivers are heading up onto the podium. Alan Day and Nicolo Rocca both up on the podium. Pause for applause. Here comes Patrick Lemery. And just got some provisional confirmation that Alexander Graf did secure the most positions gained, so we do believe he will be the silver medalist, the second place finisher in the 2022 EuroNASCAR Pro Series. Here come the trophies then. Alan Day with the first of many pots to be awarded to him on this Sunday afternoon. I dread to think just how significant his trophy collection is at this point, Alan Day. I think after that honeymoon, he's going to have to go and buy a bigger cabinet. Second place for Nicolo Rocca, a great success for him in what has been a promising season in the 56 Cal Racing crew. Nicolo Rocca, of course, did secure a win and a pole position this year, so I think he has a lot to be happy with in this season. But there's no man, I'd say, no man, including Alan Day, that is happier right now than Patrick Lemery. That first win is a delicious feeling for him. Patrick Lemery, he hasn't done this before, of course. Alan Day has done. National anthem. So there you go, the celebrations, the French national anthem played for Patrick Lemery. He has the biggest trophy, but of course Alan Day has another trophy to be presented to him. I believe we will have the championship presentation in just a couple of moments' time for Alan Day. And the champagne will be sprayed here for the overall top three. And none of them holding back. It's the end of the year. They've got a long time to put these race suits through dry cleaning. Some of the race suits might be hung up permanently. New sponsor deals and the like for the 2023 season, I'm sure. A big shout out as well to Fracasso. You see there, our title sponsors for the NASCAR GP of Croatia. And it was an honour to have the Fracasso team here with us today. They gave the starting command as well in EuroNASCAR 2. And an event that wouldn't be possible without the coordination and the dedication of the Croatian Motorsport Federation and indeed our sponsors, including Fracasso, who have done a great job bringing this event to life, along with the organisations, including, of course, the EuroNASCAR team and Team FJ. Speaking of the EuroNASCAR teams, PK Car Sports have been stellar this year, and this man, Alan Day, is the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series Pro Champion of 2022. We're about to see the biggest trophy of all presented to Alan Day. There we go, the presentation is made. And, maybe Alan Day there briefly discussing, hey, do you think another trip to America could be on the cards? He's already had a go at Xfinity in years gone by, but for now, Alan Day firmly celebrating his result here, his championship victory once again in EuroNASCAR. He is the maestro of the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series, Alan Day. Of course, we saw him there celebrating as he received the trophy, and I'm sure that trophy may become full of champagne at some point, so he can have a nice hearty drink in the paddock. And here we go with the next of the podiums. In fact, no, my apologies. The fastest driver award, of course, presented by TJ Titanium Jewelry. And he will receive a very nice bespoke, I believe it's a ring from TJ that they're presenting. And yes, indeed it is. Well, Patrick Lemery just got a little bit more dangerous with that very, very big and impressive ring for his efforts as the fastest driver of the day. That was Marco Raggi presenting the ring to Patrick Lemery, who I think now is done with his podium obligations. He can go and celebrate, as Alan Day is already in the midst of doing. And, oh, he's already dancing as well. Goodness me. The night is still young, Alan Day. You've got a lot of time for that. Good to see that 4 championships in, the novelty has absolutely not worn off in the slightest yet. And best team of the event award, of course. So Patrick Lemery still has to go up to the podium at least once more. And this is to celebrate the Academy Motorsport team, the number 5 crew, who have put in the best performance across both the NASCAR Pro and NASCAR 2, EuroNASCAR 2 divisions. I believe Vladimir Osiortsis is somewhere in there as well. Yes, I think he is. Yep, just see him there in the white shirt. So everyone involved with the number 5 crew at Academy Motorsport receiving a presentation all to themselves. And oh no, there's a bottle of champagne and a great number of mechanics all on the podium together. I get the feeling a few people are going to get soggy in just a few moments. Celebrations for the number 5 crew. And here comes the champagne. The champagne is sprayed as the drivers and the teams celebrate. 2 more podiums yet to come before the end of our broadcast today, as the drink starts to flow on the podium. Next up will be the Junior Trophy. And it should be Giorgio Maggi, or rather it should be Leonardo Colavita that claims the win there. I believe Liam Hasemans technically is on the podium, although he didn't finish, courtesy of the attrition rate in that race. And sure enough, there he is. Yeah, Liam Hasemans didn't get to cross the line, but he still gets one more trophy to add to the collection. Of course, he won the EuroNASCAR 2 championship earlier today. And, oh, he moves into second. Okay, I'm not sure what's going on there. I think maybe aspirational there from Liam Hasemans. Second place for Giorgio Maggi. Sorry, for Leonardo Colavita, by the looks of it. Oh no, Colavita is to the top step. So Giorgio Maggi is not there just yet. So Giorgio Maggi not there to take the second step of the podium just now. So only Hazemans and Colavita to celebrate. Two drivers, of course, who doubled up in both EuroNASCAR Pro and EuroNASCAR 2. And actually a very good point just raised in the discussions in the media centre. I'm just hearing, I don't think any of the junior drivers finished. And actually, no, they're right. Colavita ended the race in the pit lane. Hazemans, of course, was in a spin. And Giorgio Maggi was down in the gravel at turn 2. So no one actually took the flag in junior, but nonetheless, a podium is presented. The Challenger Trophy podium now. Claudio Remeggio Capelli taking third place there. I must say, if he's back next year, I think he's a favourite for the championship in Challenger because he has come on leaps and bounds this year. And Claudio Remeggio Capelli, he's a very good and friendly person to have in the paddock, and he's gotten quicker and quicker and quicker as the season has worn on. Fabrizio Armetta second on the podium. He's about to receive his trophy now, and it will be Henry Tuamala, I should say, on the whole position, or on the top step of the podium. And we heard him say a few words in Finnish, which I still am not willing to translate. But I know he is delighted with his result, not just as the Challenger Trophy winner today, but also the Challenger Trophy champion across the 2023 season. 2022 season. If he wins it in 2023, it's because I predicted it. But he is the 2022 champion in Challenger Trophy. And a good way to cap off that with a 7th overall and a win in the Challenger class today. Congratulations to all of our champions, including Tuamala. And of course, Giorgio Maggi, even with how today's race went, he will be the champion in junior. A very good year for the youngster in the 18. Alan Day is celebrating already, as he will long into the night, along with Anthony Kumpen and PK Carsport, for they are the 2022 EuroNASCAR Pro champions. Lots of trophies have been given out today. We must say a congratulations as well to Henry Tuamala and also to Giorgio Maggi, who have taken the Challenger and Junior trophies respectively. Patrick Lemery takes a first win, potentially a first win of many in EuroNASCAR Pro. Plenty of happy faces, plenty of excitement in the paddock as the 2022 EuroNASCAR season draws to a close. But the biggest smile of all belongs to Alan Day, who is now a 4-time EuroNASCAR champion.
When you come to Kvarner, treat yourself to an experience you will remember. Enjoy the luxurious ambience. Experience superior service. Indulge in endless pleasures. The pearl of the tourism offer in the pearl of the Adriatic. Liburnia, Hotels and Villas.